The Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum, Strychnine Hill, is a museum chronicling the Cambodian genocide. Located in Phnom Penh, the site is a former secondary school which was used as security prison 21 by the Khmer Rouge regime from 1975 until its fall in 1979. From 1976 to 1979, an estimated 20,000 people were imprisoned at Tuol Sleng, and it was one of between 150 and 196 torture and execution centers established by the Khmer Rouge and the secret police known as the Santé Ball, literally Keeper of Peace. On July 26, 2010, the extraordinary chambers in the courts of Cambodia convicted the prison's chief, Kong Kekyu, for crimes against humanity and grave breaches of the 1949 Geneva Conventions. He died on September 2, 2020 while serving a life sentence. In this video, I will show you about intriguing story of it.
To accommodate the victims of purges that were important enough for the attention of the Khmer Rouge, a new detention center was planned in the building that was formerly known as Tuol Sleng High School, named after a royal ancestor of King Norodom Sihanouk. The 5 buildings of the complex were converted in March or April 1976 into a prison and an interrogation center. Other buildings in town had already been used as Prison S-21. The Khmer Rouge renamed the complex Security Prison 21, S-21, and construction began to adapt the prison for the inmates. The buildings were enclosed in electrified barbed wire, the classrooms converted into tiny prison and torture chambers, and all windows were covered with iron bars and barbed wire to prevent escapes and suicides. From 1976 to 1979, an estimated 20,000 people were imprisoned at Tuol Sleng. The precise number is unknown. At any one time, the prison held between 1,000 and 1,500 prisoners. They were repeatedly tortured and coerced into naming family members and close associates, who were in turn arrested, tortured, and killed. In the early months of S-21's existence, most of the victims were from the previous Lon Nol regime and included soldiers, government officials, as well as academics, doctors, teachers, students, factory workers, monks, engineers, etc. Later, the party leadership's paranoia turned on its own ranks, and purges throughout the country saw thousands of party activists and their families brought to Tuol Sleng and murdered. 5. Those arrested included some of the highest-ranking politicians such as Koe Thaun, Vorn Vet, and Hu Nim. Although the official reason for their arrest was espionage, these men may have been viewed by Khmer Rouge leader Pol Pot as potential leaders of a coup against him. Prisoners' families were sometimes brought en masse to be interrogated and later executed at the Choang Ek Extermination Center. In 1979, the prison was uncovered by the invading Vietnamese army. At some point between 1979 and 1980, the prison was reopened by the government of the People's Republic of Kampuchea as a historical museum memorializing the actions of the Khmer Rouge regime. The torture system at Tuol Sleng was designed to make prisoners confess to whatever crimes they were charged with by their captors. Prisoners were routinely beaten and tortured with electric shocks, searing hot metal instruments, and hanging, as well as through the use of various other devices. Some prisoners were cut with knives or suffocated with plastic bags. Other methods for generating confessions included pulling out fingernails while pouring alcohol on the wounds, holding prisoners' heads underwater, and the use of the waterboarding technique. Women were sometimes raped by the interrogators, even though sexual abuse was against Democratic Kampuchea (DK) policy. The perpetrators who were found out were executed. Although many prisoners died from this kind of abuse, killing them outright was discouraged, since the Khmer Rouge needed their confessions. The medical unit at Tuol Sleng, however, did kill at least 100 prisoners by bleeding them to death. 8. It is proven that medical experiments were performed on certain prisoners. For the first year of S-21's existence, Corpses were buried near the prison. However, by the end of 1976, cadres ran out of burial spaces, and the prisoner and family members were taken to the Boang Choongek, Crow's Feet Pond, extermination center, 15 kilometers from Phnom Penh. There, they were killed by a group of teenagers led by a comrade Tung, being battered to death with iron bars, pickaxes, machetes, and many other makeshift weapons owing to the scarcity and cost of ammunition. After the prisoners were executed, the soldiers who had accompanied them from S. 21 buried them in graves that held between as few as 6 and as many as 100 bodies. The legacy and historical significance of Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum in Phnom Penh. Formerly known as Security Prison 21, or S21, the Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum holds a significant place in Cambodia's history as a symbol of the atrocities committed during the Khmer Rouge era, which memories suffering forever for Cambodian people.